Good afternoon, and what is a cool, grey, and cloudy day. It is Sunday, the 31st of March, Easter Sunday, and I'm in the reading nook with a nice hot cup of tea and a box. Just putting unboxing on what it's got in here is this, a copy of White Mughals by William Dalrymple, Love and Betrayal in 18th century India. Now, William Dalrymple has written several books upon the history of India and the effects of essentially the colonialism and the East India Company upon the Indian subcontinent. So this is why it's interesting. So, White Mughals is the romantic and ultimately tragic tale of a passionate love affair that crossed and transcended all the cultural, religious and political boundaries of its time. James Achilles Kirkpatrick, there's a name, was the British resident at the court of Nizam of Hyderabad when in 1798 he glimpsed Kea and Nisa, most excellent among women, the great niece of the Nizam's prime minister and a direct descendant of the Prophet. Kirkpatrick had gone out to India as an ambitious soldier of the army of the East India Company, eager to make his name in conquest and subjugation of the subcontinent. Instead, he fell in love with Kea and overcame many obstacles to marry her, not least of which was the fact that she was locked away in Purdah and engaged to be a local nobleman. Eventually, while remaining a resident, Kirkpatrick converted to Islam and, according to Indian sources, even became a double agent working for the Hyderabad against the East India Company. So, it's a remarkable story, involving secret assignations, court intrigue, hurry politics, religious disputes, and espionage. But such things were not unknown from the 16th century when the Inquisition banned the Portuguese in Goa from wearing the dhoti to leave the Indian Mutiny. The White Mughals, who wore local dress and adopted Indian ways, were a source of difficulty and embarrassment to successive colonial administrations. William Dalrymple unearths such colourful figures as Hindu Stewart, who travelled with his own team of Brahmins to maintain his temple of idols, and who spent many years trying to persuade the Memsahibs of Calcutta to adopt the sari. And Sir David, I can't guess what that is. No, I still can't read that. Sir David Ochterlony, Kirkpatrick's counterpart in Delhi, who took all 13 of his Indian wives out for evening promenades, each on the back of her own elephant. In White Mughals, William Dalrymple discovers a world almost entirely unexplored by history and places at its centre a compelling tale of love, seduction, betrayal. It possesses all the sweep and romance of the great 19th century novel, set against the background of a shifting allegiances and the manoeuvring of the great powers. The mercantile ambitions of the British and the imperial dreams of Napoleon. White Mughals, the product of 5 years of writing and research, well, undoubtedly is regarded as Dalrymple's masterpiece. So, this is a big piece of history. I've got a very good interest in Indian history, partly because at some point I would actually like to run a Call of Cthulhu campaign there. But it's also sort of like been fascinating with sort of like with the whole romance of it initially, and then the history itself. I got interested in that more than necessarily the romance of the whole thing and the pomp and circumstance. To actually shift to sort of like reading about that rather than essentially the equivalent of the hagiography. So there we go. So this is quite a big lump of a book, as you can see. It is over 500 pages. Extensive contents list of illustrations, maps. I've got a family tree of the Shastaris, and basically the family going to be at the heart of the story. Kirkpatrick's, the other family. I've got a list of the dramatis personae. So that's quite extensive. So that basically gives you a good introduction of those involved. You have dynastic list there, acknowledgements. Then we're on to the introduction, and so proceeds through essentially introduces who they are, section by section. And we have period illustrations and paintings included, so there's actually quite a lot of illustrations in here, which will capture the flavour and the feel of the period being depicted, being explored, and here we have the individual portraits of Indian women of the time. So you've got both Indian depictions and native depictions and European depictions. With quite detailed explanations at the bottom. Scenes at Hyderabad Court. And here, this actually is I've actually got a picture of James Achilles Kirkpatrick. There we go. And there we've got first Marquis of Marquis Wellesley. And here we shift a little bit further forward with the photographs, so that we actually so with the images, I should say, because we actually shift to photography. So turn over. There we go. Previous pages of the mercenary Alexander Gardner, one of the last of the great white Mughals. There we go. In all his glory, tartan, and and then images of British colonialism, the period of the subcontinent, various figures, and we're essentially moving further on into the 19th century when photography becomes widely available. And then then we have, of course, being a history book, have a glossary and notes, basic end notes, extensive end notes to the book, further bibliography, index, just quick glance through. So yeah, and then author's blurb, quite lengthy actually there, but yeah, that looks a fascinating sort of like more personal history of India during the period. Look forward to giving this a read at some point. Add it to my research pile of books I want to read about India. Form the idea for my Call of Cthulhu campaign if I ever get around to it. But in the meantime, hope you've enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box containing a book or game, or in this case a history work, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook, and we'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.